I want to start by being honest and real with you. As a classroom teacher, I've seen how POC meetings can sometimes feel like a race to cover standards and curriculum maps and whatever else your district has in place. And honestly, it can be easy to talk about what students should know without really talking about who our students are. But here's the reality: our students bring their cultures, languages, and lived experiences into our classrooms every single day. And if our POC planning doesn't take into account a, that matter, we're missing a huge part of the learning picture. Integrating culturally responsive teaching into standards driven instruction isn't just a nice idea, it's a necessity. And if we want all students to truly engage with and understand the content, we know exactly what needs to be done. Steps for POC planning with culturally responsive teaching and standards. I put together 7 steps. The first step is starting with the standards. That is identifying the specific learning standards you are addressing and clarifying the essential knowledge and skills students must acquire. Step 2, analyze student data and assets. Review the data. Look at the classroom observations, also the student work. Identify student strengths, their cultural backgrounds, their interests, and experiences. Consider how these assets can connect to the content. Step 3, set a learning goal that integrates CRT, culturally responsive teaching. Craft goals that align with the standards and value students' identities and experiences. For example, students will identify suspense elements, or students will show knowledge of what film writers use. I'm going to use something recent that I did with my students. Identify or show me that you can identify or know all of the elements that authors or film writers use to create suspense, be it watching a movie or videos. Make sure those learning goals integrate culturally responsive teaching. This year, I have been charged with teaching students from other languages. We call them ML, multi-language learners. And when we talked about learning goals that incorporated them in the aspect of creating the rubrics and the assignments, we stated that for this one time, let's allow them to identify how they want to show us. Will they be speaking in Spanish? Will they be speaking in English? We really didn't know. But we've designed the rubric to meet the needs of our students by giving it to them in their language. That is an example of setting a learning goal that incorporates CRT. Step 4, select culturally relevant materials and resources. Choose the text, choose the media, and examples that reflect diverse cultures, perspectives, and experiences. Include opportunities for students to share their own perspectives. Step 5, plan instructional strategies. Embed discussion protocols that encourage multiple voices. Design the tasks that allow students to make choices in how they demonstrate learning, which is what I just talked about maybe 2 steps ago. Incorporate those scaffolds that support all learners without diminishing the high expectations. Step 6, collaboratively design your assessments. Ensure that the assessments measure both mastery of the standards and engagement with culturally responsive content. Include options for students to show understanding in ways connected to their identities. And the last step, which is step 7, you always want to reflect and adjust. After implementation, review the student outcomes and POC notes. Discuss what worked, what didn't, and how to refine instruction for next time. Continuously loop back to both standards and students' cultural assets. I'll be honest, sometimes even when we know the importance of culturally responsive teaching in our POCs, it's hard to get all the way there. Between pacing guides, meetings, grading, and countless other obligations, it can feel like we're constantly juggling priorities. But what I've learned, that even small steps matter. Even when we can't fully plan every lesson through a culturally responsive lens, making intentional choices, like including text that reflects students' experiences, allowing them to identify how they can show you mastery, or even asking questions that connect to their lives, but at the same time still makes a difference. Sit back and watch. Some of my students create 2-minute trailer clips identifying suspense elements from their lens.
Y lo vamos a probar esta noche. Esto no me gusta. Solo grabaremos unos minutos. Aquí nos está siguiendo.